Do you know, or did you know, that it is National Vegetarian Week? Now let's start talking a little bit about how to make tasty vegetarian dishes as Diwali no doubt approaches at the end of this month, and of course with the run up to Christmas as well. So our next guest is going to be talking about getting tasty traditional food in a healthier way. Sujata Dean is a mindful, encouraging health coach. She helps people who are busy to achieve their health goals by working with them on their diet and lifestyle. Thank you very much for joining us, Sujata. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. You've been very patient. I guess first
Thank you
of
for
all,
having me, Race.
not a problem. I guess first of all, as a vegetarian, what are some effective ways to ensure that you're eating well and getting all of the necessary nutrients and micronutrients that we need?
I think as a vegetarian, it's really important that you get a balanced diet. And one of the key things that happens when being vegetarian is many people aren't getting enough protein in their diet, and they end up just eating a lot of grains. So instead of being vegetarians, they become grainitarians, is what I like to refer to it as, because they'll just think the easiest way they can feel satisfied is have more rice or bread or pasta or roti or, noodles, wraps. So they end up filling up on these, and then they feel hungry soon after, or they find that they're having, nutrient deficiencies. So it's really important that if you are a vegetarian, you begin to learn, educate on what your sources are for protein and also other key nutrients too.
You mentioned obviously grains there, but what are the other options for proteins? Are we talking things like dals, like legumes, chickpeas, things like that?
Exactly, yeah. So having beans, lentils, chickpeas, and there's such a big variety that we can have, whether it's having rajma, chole, you can have dal. You can cook them in any way that you want to as well. You could put them in a salad, you could put them in curries, stews, soups. So having beans, lentils is beneficial. It's a good source of protein. It's a very good source of fiber as well. At times, people worry about eating beans and lentils, thinking they're going to be really high in carbs. They worry that, they shouldn't be having too many carbs. But actually, because beans, lentils are a source of protein, fiber, and the carbs, you don't have those high sugar spikes coming when you have them, with a balanced diet. Other sources of vegetarian protein will be tofu is really good. Tempeh is really high in protein as well. If you have dairy, you could be having yogurt. You could be having things like cottage cheese. You could be having kefir, paneer. Those are also very good sources of protein. You could be having some seeds. And again, a variety of seeds that you could be adding into your meal. You could be sprinkling some pumpkin, sunflower, chia, flax seeds in your breakfast or in your salads, or just having them as a snack as well. So there's always many options to have protein as vegetarians, but we've just got to make sure we're always including the protein at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even snack time. Because without protein, we end up feeling hungry, and then we're snacking, and we can't understand why we're always having sugar cravings. So protein is really one of the key things I feel vegetarians do need.
And you mentioned snack time there, and obviously, when it comes to any festive season, whether it be Diwali coming up or Christmas around the corner or Eid or whatever, snacks are always on hand. What kind of practical tips have you got for maintaining a nutritious diet during a festive season when there are so many tempting treats around, whether it be fried samosa, pakora, things like that?
Yeah, so you can still have your treats, and some of them can be made the traditional way. So if you like rasmalai, gulab, jamun, or gajar halwa, any of these, if you want to have them the traditional way, you can, but don't eat too many of them. If you are making them at home, so for instance, if you're making your gajar halwa at home, or if you're making your rasmalai at home, begin to reduce the sugar. If a recipe asks for 100 grams, could you reduce it down to 80 grams? Most people will not even notice the taste difference if you just reduce the sugar, by 20%. The other option is, instead of frying your pakoras, your samosas, you can air fry them, you can put them in the oven, and that will be a healthier way of having them. when you air fry or when you are baking, roasting them, it may not taste exactly the same, but you could make a delicious chutney. And instead of having samosas just on their own, you could do a samosa chaat. So when you do a baked samosa chaat, you've got the samosas, you've added some vegetables to it, you've got nice imli chutney or, padina chutney, some yogurt to go with it. So you don't really notice the taste difference because it's been dry roasted. And now we've also added some vegetables into it, which just makes it a healthier snack when you're having it. So it's just healthy snacks that you just make a few swaps, either in the way you're preparing them or the ingredients that you're using or the portions of some ingredients that you're using in them.
Brilliant. And finally, before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about mindfulness. I mean, we all have moments of trying to overcome overindulgence, whether it be, not being able to stop during festivities when it comes to certain foods. How does mindfulness, what kind of role does that play, or how does that contribute to healthier eating habits?
Mindfulness when eating is just slowing down and knowing you're eating when you're eating. When we're eating mindlessly, we aren't even aware of what we've put into our mouth. We're just picking up, one mithai or one samosa, and then we reach out, have another one, not even knowing how much we've eaten. And also really, are we hungry? Are we eating because we're hungry, or are we eating because it's just there in front of us and because everyone else is eating the same foods? So when we eat mindfully, we slow down, we enjoy the flavors, we enjoy, the textures, we enjoy looking at the food, we enjoy the smells of the foods. So you slow down and bite your food and chew it properly versus just, taking a few bites, swallowing, and then reaching out for another, piece to have a mouthful of. So really slowing down and chewing your food, because when you slow down and chew and you keep chewing on the food, it gives a pause, and you're aware then, am I eating because I'm hungry, or am I now satisfied and I don't need any more to eat? So eating mindfully helps us to eat healthily without us having to count calories, without us having to restrict ourselves, but we just are slowing down and eating when we're eating.
Fantastic. Sujata Dean, who is a mindful, encouraging health coach. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful festive season if you're marking Diwali, and indeed have a fabulous vegetarian week as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Ray.
Thank you. That is Sujata Dean, who is a mindful, encouraging health coach. And you can get more details about Vegetarian Week and some fabulous recipes as well online. So do check that out.